Stuart Nash.
Thank you very much, Mr Chair. Mr Chair, I would like to talk to clause 4.2 of this Act, this bill, which refers to section 80BA 4B of the Social Security Act 1964. But just before I do, Mr Chair, I'd just like to read just one statement from the Departmental Disclosure Statement. And what the Departmental Disclosure Statement says is it gives a rationale of why we are putting in retrospective legislation. It says this could be seen as contentious, as general legislation should operate prospectively, not retrospectively. However, in this case, the retrospective provisions can be justified to ensure, and the third point, is financial costs to the Crown that were not anticipated are avoided. And that's important. So what the Crown is seeking to do is avoid costs that were not anticipated. Now, Mr Chair, let's look at section 80BA4B of the Social Security Act 1964. And let's look at the sort of people that this piece of legislation is potentially going to disadvantage. We're not talking about middle-class New Zealanders who can afford things. We're not talking about the wealthy for whom $20 means nothing. We are talking about these people. And the Act, Mr Chair, actually outlines the people that this is going to disadvantage. Sole parents, people who are on the benefit for sole parent support, or a supported living payment, or a job seeker support granted on the grounds of sickness, injury or disability. We get the picture. These are the most disadvantaged people in our society. These are the people that Parliament has decided need support from the government. And therefore what Parliament has mandated is that we give these people a level of support which allows them to live a life of at least dignity, or certainly allows them to stand on their own 2 feet while they get out of their sort of circumstances. Mr Chair, Part 4 talks about job seeker support granted to a sole parent, or job seeker support granted to a person who has recently lost the financial support of his or her spouse or partner by reason of death, the spouses or partners commencing to live apart, or the ending of a de facto relationship, or a youth payment, or a young parent payment. Again, Mr Chair, I would like to emphasise the people that we are looking at really screwing in a way, or certainly denying natural justice, are those who are the most disadvantaged in our society. Now, Mr Speaker, we've heard that that's about 8,500 New Zealanders. In the scheme of things, that's actually quite a lot of disadvantaged people in our society who could well do with this extra bit of payment. Chairman, who could well do with this payment if they decide to take it up. But the term natural justice has been used. And let's have a look at what that means. It's actually a technical term for the rule, and it's a legal term, and what it actually means is for the rule against bias and the right to a fair hearing. That's what natural justice means. And that's why, Mr Chair, we are in this Parliament standing up for those who have an inability to stand up for themselves. Mr Chair, we are the voice of these people who are disadvantaged, who look to us to do what is right. And when the Honourable Member Catherine Delahunty said that she was becoming cynical, I disagree. I'm not cynical. I am hopeful that we are here for the right reasons, and I am hopeful that we can actually do the right thing for those who are the most disadvantaged in our society and who need us to stand up for them and to do what is right. Mr Chair, I listed a group of people, quite specific, under the legislation that is being amended by section 4.2 of this Act. And we can see, Mr Chair, these are people who, yet again, are possibly, and let's make an assumption here, are some of the most disenfranchised. I mean, I would wage a bet that the vast majority, well, a good number of them, won't know this debate is going on. Some of them will have advocates in the community who, when this law is passed, if we do the right thing and Carmel Sepuloni's SOP goes through, there will be a number of advocates who contact their networks, who go out to these people as defined in section 80BA, and say to them, let me help you. Let me help you get that money back, because it's coming up to Christmas. This bill is going to receive royal assent before Christmas, of that there is no doubt. So let me help you, and it might make a bit of difference. And again, I suspect what will happen is the word will slowly spread out. But Mr. Chair, when I see here that the reason for this one of the three reasons for this retrospective legislation is because, Mr. Chair,
Chair. William Seal.